how your family came to Burgenland, or did they live for a long time already in Burgenland, or your family?
Um, I believe that I can only go back as far as
Yeah,
my grandparents. I think my grandmother was born in Overvoort,
yeah.
and my grandfather might have been born in Schleining, because that's where they they married and settled down in Schleining. And my mother and her three brothers were born in Schleining. And then um, my mother married um, a man from Budapest, but they lived in Schleining then also, and that's where I was born.
So, do you have any childhood memory of Schleining, or
I really do not remember very much. Um, I was 6 years old when we left, and probably I should remember more than I do, but I, I might have a mental block because times were not the happiest then, and maybe I blocked it all out. I do have a memory of the Nazi soldiers coming, knocking on the door, and my mother, I must have been maybe 4 years old. I do remember my mother telling me I was not to speak. And they came in and searched the house. I think after that, I don't remember. I know that we left. I think we went to Vienna and left from Vienna to the United States. I don't remember the trip on the ship. I have a picture of it. I know I was there. I don't remember it.
mm-hmm.
I do remember when we arrived here. We came in June 1938, and my mother had two brothers living here who helped us come over. And I must tell you that my mother told me over the years that had it not been for her Christian friends in Schleining, we would not have gotten out.
Mm-hmm. So what? How did
But
they
we
have
did
to
have
get?
the family in New York who gave us the is it the visa,
Yeah, I think you needed kind of an
uh,
invitation, or
we needed, I forget what it was called, but they would
an
be
affidavit. Was it an affidavit?
affidavit.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what it
yeah,
was.
yeah.
Yes, yes.
So, did
So
you have brothers and sisters, or
I
are you
had
alone?
I had a half sister,
Yeah.
and my parents were divorced,
Mm-hmm.
and my sister went with my father, and I went with my mother.
To.
And we came to the United States. They went to Budapest,
Mm-hmm.
and I have not heard from either one.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, I'm trying to find my sister.
Yeah. So your parents were divorced
Hmm
before 38 already.
When I was 3 years old.
Oh yeah. It's quite uncommon at the time.
I'm sorry?
Divorce then was not so
No, it was not
common,
common at the
and I can
time,
imagine in a
no.
small town like
Hmm
here.
My father was an artist. I think he did some painting in the Catholic Church here on a
Yeah.
mural. And he traveled a lot. My mother traveled with him, and I think my sister and I were left with my grandmother in Schleining. I know I certainly was when I was an infant,
Yeah.
and they might have taken my sister along.
So
But
you went alone with your mother to the States.
yes, and
Yeah.
I went with uh, my uncle, who
Yeah.
also lived in Schleining.
Mm-hmm. Do you
My
remember?
my grandmother, my grandmother went to the United States a few years earlier because her sons decided it was time to get her out before anything
Mm-hmm.
happened.
So obviously there was some feeling even before it happened, 38.
I think so. I think so. That's why they insisted she leave.
Mm-hmm. So do you remember anything from the first days in this from the first years in the States?
That I do remember.
Yeah.
Yes. Um, like I said, I was 6 years old, and it was June, so I was going to start school in September. So my uncle spent the summer trying to teach me English, and I met some other little girls there, and I learned it quickly enough. But I was different when I went into first grade. I didn't look like the American children that went to first grade, and my English was not certainly as perfect as theirs. Uh, and I think I became very shy at that time. I was afraid to speak. I was afraid somebody would laugh at me. My mother handmade all my clothing, which was totally different from what the American children were wearing. I was self-conscious. I became very shy, and I don't think I was that way before.
Mm-hmm.
But I adjusted pretty well. People were nice. Most people were very kind, even the children.
Was it a normal American school?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. It was a public school.
Did your mother speak any English?
She went to night school
Yeah.
and learned English, and she went right to work.
What did you learn?
Well, when she first came here, she couldn't speak English. She went to work as a helper to an old lady who spoke Jewish, which was similar to German, and my mother was able to communicate. And that was a very hard time for me because she had to be there all the time. She only came home on the weekend, and had never been without my mother before.
So where did you stay?
I stayed with my grandmother and my aunt and uncle.
Sorry.
So that was another adjustment
Yeah.
that I had to make at that time. So those memories are clear.
So when you went to school, did you want to be American or?
Oh yes, I was ashamed to be spoken to in German.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to think about that now because I might have hurt my grandmother's feelings or my mother's feelings without even knowing it. But I guess I was very self-conscious about it.
Did the other kids know who you were, or did the teacher explain that?
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But they accepted you.
They did.
Yeah.
They did. Some of them took advantage of my sensitivity and put a little fear into me. There's one thing I remember quite clearly. This girl, there was a water fountain in the schoolyard, and it was broken.
Yeah.
I didn't know it. I went to get a drink, and this girl standing there, and she said, "You broke that. I'm going to tell the teacher. You're going to be in big trouble." Well, for weeks, I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell my mother. I just couldn't go to sleep at night. I was so afraid that something terrible was going to happen to me. I might have associated it with the Nazis. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
But in a 6-year-old's mind, this girl had this threat hanging over. She threatened to tell on me, and I'd get into big trouble. So that passed.
Did your mum talk to you about it? What happens?
Not very much, and I didn't ask too many questions, which I regret now. I wish I knew more. She answered the questions that I asked her. But I don't remember really asking her too many questions about what happened and why we had to leave.
But she never talked
No.
She never talked about
No.
it. Did she ever come back?
No. No, unfortunately passed away when she was still quite young. She was only 56. But she never came back.
And your grandmother?
No, she didn't come back.
Did your grandmother talk about it? Or?
No, I don't think my grandmother experienced anything with that. She came before the Anschluss.
Yeah.
She would talk about her life here. She had a pretty hard life. They lived in. I found the house.
I know. Can you tell the story?
I would love to go in there. I would love to go and see it. Do you want to hear what happened yesterday?
Yes.
Well, I thought it was a certain house, but number 4. But there were 2 number 4s, so we went to the pink house that was number 4, and Ava knocked on the door, and the lady came out of the house, and I, in my broken German, I tried to explain to her that I think I was born in this house, and I was 6 years old when I left, and she looked at me and she said, "Are you Marika?" She was my little friend. She said, this was not the house. She showed us the house where it was. She said, "I used to walk over there all the time and we would play together."
But you don't remember her?
I don't, but it was a very emotional, very, very thrilling and exciting thing.
Are you going back to her?
Yes. I'd like to speak to her some more, and hopefully I can get into the house, the real house that I was born in.
So you didn't go back yet to your...
No, we had to. We had another appointment. We visited Herr und Frau Kropf.
Yeah.
And, so we didn't have the time. I'm on my own for this one, I think. Ava did the first part, but I have to do this by myself.
So how did it feel when you met this person?
It's really hard to describe. It's a very, very emotional thing, and it was an unbelievable thing. It's like I'm in a dream. It doesn't seem real. It doesn't seem real that I'm in Schleining, the place that I don't remember, but I know I was born here. I know I played on these streets. My mother was here. My father was here. My grandmother. I brought pictures along just for the background, so I can see where they sat and where they went. I haven't gotten around to doing that yet, but it's. I guess it's a once in a lifetime thing.
Well, would you have come here to Schleining if there hadn't been this meeting? Would you have come with your husband or your children?
Yes, we were planning to.
Yeah.
We were planning to.
Yeah.
But it would not have been the same.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. This is very special.
Yeah. Did you intend for a long time to do that? Or is it
Well, I met, Regina contacted me.
Oh, I meant to come on a holiday here once.
Oh, we were planning to do that.
Yeah.
Yes, we have been talking about it for several years now.
Yeah.
And we were planning. We didn't have a date set. Nothing, no real commitment, but we were planning.
Wasn't
yes.
it? You said, no, I never want to go.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Never want
No,
to see.
I did want to come. I did.
Yeah.
I have no bad feelings.
Yeah. Did your mother have it? Or did she?
I don't think she had bad feelings. I think sad feelings.
Yeah.
To have to leave the only home
Yeah.
that she ever had, and leave everything behind. But we got out.
Yeah.
We did lose some family here
Mm-hmm.
who didn't make it out. I don't think she had bad feelings for the town, for Schleining. It was her Christian friends here in Schleining who helped us get out.
Mm-hmm.
She had nothing but good feelings and good things to say about all the people here.
Mm-hmm.
So no, she didn't. She probably would have come back had she had the opportunity and the money. But she didn't make it back. Had she lived longer, maybe we would have made the trip together. But no, she had no bad feelings about the people here.
So
It was not the town's fault what was done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you told me why you came to New York and went to school there.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened afterwards? Did you stay for the whole time in New York? Or?
Yes, we lived in New York the whole time until I got married. And then my husband was in the Air Force, so we moved around a bit and came back to the New York area because the family was there. And we settled in New Jersey first, and then we moved out to Pennsylvania.
What's home for you now?
Well, Pennsylvania is home, but the roots are New York.
Yeah.
Yes.
And how do your children feel about it? Are they? I can see actually they are interested.
Oh, they were the ones that started us thinking and planning on coming. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily that they would come along, but they were the ones that insisted that we have to make the plans to come. And then when this opportunity came, they all wanted to come.
But they are interested in the family history.
Yes, yes.
Your daughter has been back before, hasn't she?
Yes, she was here 20 years ago. She came right after college with a friend. They traveled through Europe, and she said she would like to go to Schleining.
Yeah.
And at that time, we still had some contacts here. So she was able to stay with friends of the family in Schleining.
Yeah, she showed me the photographs. So your mother had, or I guess your mother, you were too small, had still always contact with...
Yes, she corresponded with her friends here. There were really, truly no hard feelings for the people here.
And do you think your children want to come back again? And you?
I would like to.
Yeah.
I would like to.
Well, what did you expect before you came here?
I didn't know what to expect. It was, the whole thing is still unreal to me.
Yeah.
I wake up in the morning and say to myself, I'm in Schleining. This is where I was born. This is where my mother walked and where I played. It just, I have to keep telling myself, this is where I am. It's the most exciting, emotional thing. It really is. I don't know how else to describe it.
In New York, where you lived, was it in the Jewish community? I mean, when you arrived, yeah.
It wasn't totally Jewish, but I would say there were more Jewish people living there. It wasn't like a ghetto type of place where it's all Jewish people. It was a street with several tall apartment buildings.
Yeah.
And the whole family lived on the same street, not necessarily in the same house, but on the same street.
Mm-hmm.
My uncles, and aunts, and some friends from Schleining moved to the same street. My grandmother had a friend here in Schleining. I think they may have gone to school together. They lived together in Schleining, always raising their families. Then when they went to the United States, they moved on to the same street. We were just a house apart, and they were always together every afternoon. They got together for their coffee, and they were just always together.
Yeah, so there was a community of immigrants.
Yes.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it is.
And anyone who came would just, the doors were always open.
So there was a helping each other and a solidarity.
Yes. Yes.
But the school, there wasn't a special, an own school in this area.
No.
So.
No, it was a public school.
Yeah.
And there were all religions in there.
Did it take very long for you to adjust?
I don't think it took too long. I felt, like I said before, a little bit out of place because I looked different, and I talked different. I think my personality probably changed. But it didn't take too long to adjust. I just talked last year. One of my granddaughters, her 5th grade class, was studying World War II, and they wanted to have some grandparents or friends or any relations come in and talk, and she asked me if I would come in, and that's pretty much what I talked about, was my coming here and starting school, and I made the newspapers then too. There was a reporter there, and I had no idea that she was taking pictures or anything. And the next day, my granddaughter called and she said, I went to school and my friend came with a newspaper and I was there hugging her. That was a picture in the paper.
So it isn't just Schleining.
No. No, but I'm a bigger celebrity here.
No, that's true. How does it feel? Because that suddenly from all sides they come with microphones and you have to talk about it. It must be quite an emotional thing.
It is.
Yeah.
I think I'm getting through it okay. Every once in a while I get choked up. But that's, I'm thinking about the past.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about my mother, my grandmother. And I'm just so happy to be here.
Do you have any relatives still here? Or,
No.
Or somebody you know?
No,
whom
no.
you really know?
No one that I know.
Yeah.
But Frau Kropf
Yeah.
remembered me as a child.
Yeah.
She said she used to come and take me for a walk all the time. So I've now met 2 people who remembered me.
You have to walk a little bit more around.
But there was the only family that was left here in Schleining when we left was my grandmother's brother and his wife and his sister-in-law who lived. And Frau Kropf told me that they lived in the house across by the synagogue. So this right here must have been where they lived,
There's
my
a
uncle.
There's
The house.
Yeah.
Where she said the house next to the synagogue was where they lived. But no, they perished in the war.
Yeah.
They did not leave, so we lost them. And they were the only relatives left here in Schleining.
Yeah.
We had relatives in Vienna, but they made it out. And
Where do they live now?
all over.
All over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's interesting that you don't remember the ship, because most of the time stories I read is something for children.
I don't, it's a total block. I was hoping that being here and seeing the streets and would bring back memories to me. I can't say that it has. If I could get into the house, maybe that would do it.
Why don't you go?
I might just knock on the door. Well, let my husband knock on the door.
Sure.
He's good at knocking on doors.
Now you know where it is.
I know where it is. Actually, Maria said she would telephone them and so pave the way.
Yeah.
I will do that.
Does it look this? Of course you don't remember, but you had a picture.
I have pictures, and
does it still look the same as it looks on the picture?
No. Not if the picture that I have was taken right in front of the house we lived in. And I thought it was, but it doesn't look the same. But that was a long time ago, and you know, the houses are still there, but I'm sure they look different than they did then.
Well, because some houses basically have been restored.
Yes.
But they still look.
They still look the same on the outside.
So this one on the outside looks.
Well, there was one where I was really little. I must have only been about a year old, and it had 2 steps. Now it could have been 2 there. The house is kind of on a corner, and on the next corner is a door with 2 steps, so it could have been there. Didn't have to be.
Most houses used to
Totally.
have in Poland 2 steps, and they still have them in the north. There's 2 steps where the ladies clean the
Yes.
steps. So it's also an excuse to hear the gossip in town, because you're cleaning the front
But there
steps,
aren't too many here
not
with
here, so
steps.
I have seen him. It's true in the north. You see them more the front steps. Those 2. It's true they don't have it so much here.
But I really, before I leave, I would love to go inside that house.
You have nearly a week.
Yes.
And if this woman phones, I'm quite sure that
Yes.
there shouldn't be any problem.
I would think they would
a little bit
allow
nervous
us
if
to
the
come
brush and
in.
clean or whatever.
I have a picture in my mind of the inside. I don't know if it's real, but I do have a picture in my mind, and if I could see it, and if it's really true, then I've gotten some of my memory back. I'll let you know.
Yes. I would like to know.
Yes, I will let you know.
But I'm quite sure I am sure you will see it. Because there shouldn't be any problem. Why not?
I wouldn't think
No.
they would object too much if I
No.
just went
No,
in to look around.
I can just imagine they say we should tidy up. But